Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. And I am excited to be here today, and I am going to be talking about my title. So, several months ago, I did a video on how to make these cascading pages, and one of the requests that I've had come back from many people is how did I make this title? So first and foremost, this was not my idea. This was actually something I saw on Erin Jenkinson's page, and I loved it and thought, oh, I'm going to figure out how to do that. So if you turn my page here, you'll see that this is actually a design, and what it was trees on the bottom, mountains on the middle, and then I added some clouds to make a scene. So basically what you do is you create a scene, and once you have the scene created, you put your letters on top and you cut your letters out. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to make a new scene to kind of show you. I'm going to bring in some pieces. This is going to be the base of my piece right here, and I'm going to do a frosty winter scene today, and that's going to be my title, is Frosty. So I am using a Creative Memories die cut machine. And so because this is what I'm using, I know that my platform is 3 inches. So my base page needs to be 3 inches. And the reason that I use the Creative Memories die cut machine and why I like it so much is it comes with 12-inch plates. So because it comes with the 12-inch plates, I can get my entire title on here lined up perfectly. Now, you may be able to do this on a Cricut as well. I'm sure any kind of cutting machine you might be able to make these letters, but I use a die cut machine. It sits on my desk, it's easy, so that's what I use. So the first thing that you need to do is cut your base so that it'll fit on whatever cutting machine that you're going to do. In my case, I know I need it to be 3 inches, so I cut a 3-inch long piece. Now, because I know I'm doing winter, I took a white piece of paper, and I actually, if you look carefully, first I embossed the paper, and then I cut it with an icicle die cut. And so, well, first on the Dolomites, I just wanted to let you know that I did use Stampin' Up's Scenic Adventure die cuts, and I don't even know if they're still available, but it has a mountain in here and it has a long tree, and that's what I used to create my trees and my mountain range. And then I used Adventurous Sky to die cut some clouds. So that's what I used to make my scene for the Dolomites letters. And then I cut the letters out with the Stampin' Up party dies, which I just love these dies. They're nice and big and chunky. They make great titles for scrapbooking pages. So I'm going to use these exact same dies to create this title. I'm not a Stampin' Up person, so I don't know if they're still available, but the party alphabet dies is what I used. On this particular one, I used Frozen Edges, and they had an icicle stamp, which is what I used here to stamp across the page. And I didn't get it perfectly, but it won't matter because when I line up my letters, I can skip over any areas that aren't perfect. And then they have different die cuts inside, and I used this icicle die cut. And what I'm going to do is when I cut it, it was like this, but I'm actually going to just flip it and line them up this way and then put them on top of my icicles like this. So the biggest thing that you need to do when you're working on your scene that you're making is you need to make sure that you adhere everything down really, really well. So whether you're using glue or in my case, I'm going to use repositionable tape, you need to make sure that you get all of it taped, even the little tiny bits, because when you die cut the letters on top, if it's not securely down, you may lose little bits on your letters, and then you'll have to do a little bit of repair work. I am using, so once I have it down, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to try really hard to make sure all these edges are down pretty good because I don't want to lose my icicles. Although it may come out just fine since it's ice. This is a glacier cardstock from close to my heart that I had in my stash. So I literally right now, what I'm doing is I am just building a scene. And again, I'm making sure that when I build this scene, I am putting a lot of adhesive on the back because I don't want anything to come up when I die cut it. I'm also trying to keep the size of my dies in mind because I'm going to want not only the icicles, but I'm going to want to make sure that I have the bottom here too. Just to give, you know, have it look fun. And then I cut out a bunch of snowflakes just to add a little bit more character to my scene. And again, I'm gonna want my ice snowflakes kind of to cross all through the design, so there'll be little bits and pieces on all the letters. I also have a small little white snowflake punch, but I think I want to wait to use that one until afterwards, once my letters are cut, and just put them on my letters randomly. So I'm just making a design of what looks exciting. You know, we're having winter weather, so I thought doing a little winter scene will go. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the snow that they were expecting us to have happen. My mom bought my husband a very fancy snow shovel the first year after we moved into this house, which has almost been 10 years ago now. And ever since we've had that shovel, we've not had a lick of snow. All right, so that is my design. So then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my letters and I'm going to line them up across this design . Across this design evenly as I can. And again, I'm taking into account if I have any imperfections that I need to skip over. And I'm just lining them up. And I do want the snowflakes, so I'm trying to take that into consideration too, so that they land on a snowflake and a Y. Like this snowflake, I'm gonna move over because otherwise it would not be on a letter. And in order for it to look seamless like in my other one, I do try and make sure that it is lined up like this. And then I use the mint tape, and I bought this from scrapbook.com, and it is a low tack tape, which I like because then it doesn't tear up what you have below it. All right, so now all of my letters are adhered in place. My scene is set. The last thing that I need to do is just die cut it out. So this is my Creative Memories die cut machine. It comes with 2 long plates, a base plate and a top plate. And then I just put it in here and slide it through. And this is the one I use just because it's really quick. It's really easy. It's small. I'm able to travel with it at anywhere I want to go. Because you're going through so many layers of paper, you may have to run it through 2 or 3 times just to make sure it cuts well. So it's really struggling at the top there. I'm having to just get it really well, but you'll see then it comes with the letters. So this one didn't quite cut through, so I'll just snip it. Luckily it's the T, so it's straight. But you can clean up any edges or any tears that don't go through. But there you have it. There's the T. My Y. So fun, right? Then you actually end up with this, like the reverse image of it that you could use on another scrapbook page if you wanted. You just have to do it very carefully, just so you can make sure that there aren't any tiny little bits or pieces that come off that weren't all the way glued down solid. Like here you can see, luckily it was in the center of the R, but this little part of the icicle and snowflake fell off. So if that was actually on my letter, then I would need to go back in and just glue that little bit in. But luckily, it was on the center of my letter. So there we have Frosty. And I have the reverse image that I could use if I wanted to use the reverse image. Now for me, because this is pretty light, I will then go around the edges of all my letters, and I did the same thing with the Dolomite letters, is I will go around the edges just to ink them so that helps them to pop off the page that I put them on. But that's really it. It's figuring out what size your die cutting is. I know Stampin' Up! Is 3.5, their mini is 3.5 inches. The Creative Memories is 3 inches. I'm not sure what the Big Shots dimensions are, but once you know the dimensions of what your platform is, then you just create your scene of how you want it to look, whether you want to use mountains and flowers like I did, or in this case, I used icicles and some snowflakes and to make it more of an icy scene. And then I used the party die. And I just really like them because they're thick and chunky. So because they're thick and chunky, it keeps my scene pretty intact. I haven't tried it with a thinner die, or a thinner set of alphabet letters, so I'm not sure how that would do. But this party die set is the perfect size. And again, I'm sure you could find something similar if you were to choose a Cricut font and cut it with your Cricut. I'm sure you could do the same thing. I just really like the Creative Memories die cut, and I really like that they have these 12-inch plates to be able to cut a title out really in one swipe so that you can make sure it's lined up evenly and looks great. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions. If you have any more questions, please reach out to me. Again, the trick really is to make sure you get everything glued down, all the little itsy bitsy bits and pieces. And if you do that, it comes out relatively easily. All right, you guys, have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. All right, bye.